Welcome back to Quantum Break. So now we're back at the menu because I want to show you guys something.
Quantum
Download.
Part
Broken.
1.
More like
This is
Quantum Broken,
S-
alright.
So this game has DLC.
It's free DLC. Basically, if you try to play the game without downloading the DLC, the episodes will be shown via streaming through the Xbox servers. However,
75 gigabytes. Jesus.
however, if you're not confident on your internet connection, you can always just download them for free. You can watch them offline.
75 gigabytes.
Teo, that's the thing. The thing you have to understand, Teo, is that there's various variations of the episodes depending on what you do in the game. So
I know. And how long
even
they
though
are?
it's
Like
only
20, 30 minutes each.
even though it's only 25 episodes, each episode has like 3 different variations. So,
when are these
Wait,
episodes
wait,
taking
sorry,
place?
how many episodes are?
it's 5 episodes, but it's 3 variations of each episode, which means there's like a total of 15 episodes in terms of time and size.
So, are the
Still, I hope
episodes...
they are fast.
Well, they're in 1080p, I'm guessing, so that takes quite a bit of space.
So, Wow, the white background of this blends in with the YouTube.
Alright, Jova, what you were asking?
so when do said episodes show up?
In the next part.
Oh, I see. By the way, having looked at them, would you say that the differences are variant enough to take a look at all 3 different outcomes?
I haven't. I'm waiting till I finish the game first before I do that, because I want to at least do the full picture
So
first.
right now we're in the middle of a time fuckery, I guess.
Basically, for those who don't remember, in the last part, time broke.
Yeah.
So now everything is stopped. However,
also the
Jack.
game
However, in true superhero fashion, because of that freak accident, now Jack gained time travel superpowers.
I think I already saw that actor too. Sorry.
These are all famous TV actors, basically.
Maybe he was in Lost.
Or maybe he is lost in this.
What a story it was.
Unlike David Cage, Sam Lake went for TV talent rather than Hollywood talent.
I guess to save money.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, shit.
I need to reach Dr. Pavel.
That would be kind of honestly, Teo, considering how far I'm into the game right now, if Pavel suddenly showed up because he got lost, so he somehow ended up in a completely different franchise, that would be officially the only interesting thing that has happened in this game for me so far. Anyway, focusing on it. Okay, so yeah, Will, our brother, he's asking us to follow him because he's the one who, of course, knows what's going on.
Is this Indigo Prophecy with all the narration?
Oh,
Remember, Dibs, this is told in a flashback because the dude is being interviewed by a girl, a woman.
Makes sense. I wonder
this
how it's
is
going to explain. This is technically the prologue. Hey Pedro, do they have a little? Do they have dialogue about the character? About what happens if you die? Does the character have a bit of dialogue? It's like, oh wait, no, that didn't happen.
No, they just die.
Oh. Thought Sam Lake could be more creative than that.
Meh. He can. That's the thing. I played Alan Wake, so I know that he can be creative. I just don't know what the fuck happened with this game.
What do you mean? The game seems fine enough so far.
Well, that's just the thing, Jova. These characters never really rise above just bland archetypes to me.
Depends. Have you finished the game yet to see, though?
Well, here's the thing. I've already finished 2 acts, 2 junctions, and 2 episodes. By this point, there should be some character development, and so far there's none.
It depends on what kind of story they're going for. I mean,
when it's fine, I'll let you be the judge of that by the time we finish.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, just because something goes outside like the usual way it's done doesn't mean it's bad. For instance, when you actually get down to it, Professor Layton doesn't really do that good at mysteries, but when you get to it, it's not so much about the mystery, but about the character driving.
I know that, but here's the thing. That's the thing, Joe. But the mystery of this plot.
I'm not saying that this is a mystery plot. I'm saying that just because something for its respective archetype.
Well, if I had to put in context, Jova, as a superhero origin story so far, I'm really bored.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm not exactly really drawn
This is
in
like
that
this.
bigly.
This is like every. This feels like every superhero origin story ever.
That's
I
pretty
guess-
much it, really, when you get right down to it.
I guess what I'm waiting for is the part where we get to go over when we get to do all the cool
we'll
time
get to the
travel
cool
stuff.
time travel powers in the gameplay. But and to be fair, I've come across some awesome set pieces involving the timeline, and there's even one moment involving time travel that actually was pretty cool. But the problem is that those were two isolated instances, and the rest of the game doesn't quite hold up to those two instances. But we'll get to them. Anyway,
Well, I mean,
basically we're trying to
oh, go
escape.
on. I mean, well, if the gameplay turns out to be fine enough, I guess I'll be good with it.
The
But-
gameplay is
Server room?
It's not so
game
much that
is-
the story is bad. It's just like, well, it's not really done anything remarkable yet. It's like, well, I mean, okay,
Yeah, that's
okay.
what I've heard. This game is kind of so okay. It's average.
it's average, really.
But
It's-
if I had to say a compliment, at this, aside from the blur factor that I noticed in the previous part, from what I understand, Pedro, there are no technical CGI cutscene aside from the live action ones.
well, actually, Theo,
Is everything in game, or there are actually?
no. Basically, Theo, they do something similar to what Naughty Dog did on the PS3, and they have pre-rendered cutscenes where it's the game models, but ends thanks to the pre-rendered nature of it.
Because if I had to be honest, at least in the gameplay part, for Xbox One standard, exclusive standard, this looks great.
Yeah. This looks still pretty much. This is pretty much the best looking game on the console.
And I will give it this: the way that the game is designed and looks, it does feel very immersive, especially with sections like this where you're crawling through a tiny ledge. You know, it's kind of like the Final Fantasy 15 in that.
Yeah, this is fine. This is fine.
I-
My problem with the gameplay is okay. It's much like the plot. There's nothing offensively bad about it, or even remarkably bad about it. It's just that the cover
Yeah,
the gameplay is basically a cover shooter without a cover system. And for someone who's so used to playing Uncharted, that just feels so weird to have controls that are just like those and yet not have a cover system. Even Angry Joe noticed that in his review. Okay, you know how in Uncharted you can cover it, shoot and shit. A cover-based shooter, that's what it is. You know, Gears of War.
Gears of War launched. Yeah.
I mean,
Gears of this
Basically, set pieces in different room. You progress. There's a room full of different covers. You're on one side, the enemies on the other. Shoot up one or drop.
Oh, that. Well, lots of games have done that. I didn't know that it was its own genre.
No. That's not the thing, Jova. What Pedro was trying to tell is that this game tries to be like this without an actual cover system.
Yes, you cannot actually do cover like in an Uncharted or Gears of War game. There's an automatic cover thing, but the problem is that the automatic cover is not always reliable. Like, for example, sometimes you want to walk crouching to avoid some gunfire, and he'll just walk standing, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's for someone who's okay. Granted, I never played Gears of War, but I've played 4 Uncharted games, so I'm used to these kind of mechanics.
Yeah, Gears of War does it tight. I can vouch for that.
Yeah, because I don't know, it feels weird to not have a cover system, even though every other aspect of the shooting is done exactly like the Uncharted games. Again, I can't talk for Gears of War because I haven't played those.
Oh, I get it. So what you mean is like, well, usually there's an object that you should be able to like duck behind, but then he won't duck sometimes.
Basically, Joe, imagine Sonic 3 without the spin dash. It just feels weird.
Pedro,
Hello there.
when did the episodes start?
Next part, I've already said it.
Wait, isn't he covered here though? Like when he ducks?
Again, it's not automatically Jova. That's the problem. See, okay, you know how in the Naughty Dog's games. Again, I can speak for Gears of War. You actually have a cover that you can cover at will and whenever you can. And here, you can only cover automatically when you touch an object. And it's
Wait.
Usually,
You have to
when
touch
you approach
the
a
object?
cover, you get a prompt to use a specific. Usually, when it
Yeah.
comes to PlayStation games, if I recall, it's the circle button.
Yeah.
And you cover, but at your wheel.
Actually, never mind. I also played Phantom Pain. And Phantom Pain also has those mechanics.
I get what you
Okay.
mean. I get what you mean. So instead of like getting, a button prompt like you usually would, you literally have to like get in contact with the object you want to cover behind.
And the
Yeah.
problem is that
Ooh,
it has to
that
be a
is
specific.
clunky.
The problem with that, Jova, is that it has to be a specific object that the designers expected you to use cover, because there are times in this game where I do try to use cover, but it's one of those objects where the designers weren't intending it for me to use it as cover. So unlike in Phantom Pain,
Yeah,
like in
that's
Phan-
pretty
Phan-
bad.
You know what this means, Jova? If you don't play the game like the developers wanted you to, you're gonna be punished.
Although that makes you wonder, though. Huh?
Actually, that's another. Go ahead, Jova. Go ahead.
That makes you wonder, though. How do you control whether or not you can, get up and shoot, or get away from said cover area?
The usual stuff. L2 to point and R2 to shoot.
Oh, okay. So the aim and shoot is how that. How do you get away from said cover if you wish to?
It's exactly like in Uncharted and Phantom. Again, those are the other ones that I've played.
And I guess you just move the analog stick to move away from the cover.
Yeah. It's exactly what you expect from any cover-based system. If you've played any cover-based system, you've played this game. It's the exact same stuff. Again, aside from the lack of cover system, and of course the time travel powers. Anyway, to go on to what Theo was saying, actually, Joe, you know how one of the problems with Aiden in Beyond Two Souls was the fact that instead of experimenting with Aiden's powers, you just have to follow the pre-established path that David Cage set out for you.
Yeah.
The hero powers are pretty much done the exact same way. You can't actually, aside from attacks, you can't not really experiment with your powers to get out of stick situations. You can only rewind time in the specific spots that the game intended you to do so. That kind of designs,
How sad is it when a DS game knows to give you more freedom than this?
Theo, play Ghost Trick. It's awesome.
Yeah. See, the thing about Ghost Trick, it sort of works like Ace Attorney where, yes, you do have to do a specific thing to proceed, but the cool thing is, during each of those chapters, while you may fail because of it, you can still fool around with some items, heck, some of which you don't even need to use, but can still see what happens with them.
Anyway, basically what's going on, to get back to the plot, basically Will is telling us that time broke. However, he did predict that maybe this could happen if Paul was going to go on with the experiment, so he did build a countermeasure. However, he hasn't told us yet what it is yet.
I forget. Paul was all right despite Will blowing up the machine. So where is Paul?
You'll find him at the end of this part. Don't worry.
Refresh my memory though. What happened to him at the end of last part? I know he was with us, and then
the military started chasing us.
Oh, yeah. Right, and we split up, I guess.
No, listen.
Okay, that's funny.
Frozen in time. These people look so silly.
Yeah,
well, that's usually the idea with freeze streams in general.
Yeah, basically, thanks to Jack's powers, he can now unfreeze people when they're frozen in time.
That's
nice.
I
have to admit, set pieces like this are actually pretty cool. The problem is that again, you can only this is beyond your control. It's just whenever the game decides.
I was going to ask if we could have the guards shoot each other.
No.
Why would you want to do that?
That would be fun. I know, but
oh my god! Hey guys, it's on October 8th, 2016.
The problem is that Sam Lake had an amazing concept with this game, but he restricted himself. He should have gone balls to the wall with it, because there's so many possibilities for what you can do with a game like this.
Yeah, again, like have the soldiers shoot.
Part of me wonders, was there a limited budget with this? And
No.
Backed by Microsoft. This is a Microsoft IP.
Yeah, because if it wasn't back,
remember, Jova, we really pushed it up as a launch title for the Xbox One, so they gave all the budget they could.
Oh yeah, this is important here. For some reason, even though I could unfreeze Will, I cannot unfreeze Amy, the girl we were talking to in the last part. The game, as of right now, from what I've played, hasn't explained this yet. But
I'm guessing there'll be a future explanation.
Hopefully, Sam won't forget that, like David Cage would.
Thankfully,
again, I can
he
speak
will.
Because so far, from what I haven't finished the game yet, and so far we haven't got any. But again, I have to wait till I complete the game before I get back to that. Anyway, let's
shoot, I forgot.
I do admit the visual effects for the time travel, they actually look pretty damn cool. I'll admit that.
If this were a limited budget,
why does he sound like LaDouche?
It's because of the time. Basically, whenever time stops, there's an echo when people talk. It
makes him sound like LaDouche.
Whatever, Dwibs. Actually called by his neighbor, some people may not get the reference because there are a lot of characters fan-named that.
Alright, we'll go first.
Anyway, but yeah, how funny. Apparently the date of this is October 8th, 2016.
Yes. Basically, Theo, because time fractured, as they call it, now time will randomly stop at some points because it's broken. time is literally broken.
By the way, Pedro, did you purposely time it so that, we'd be commentating literally a day before this event?
Wait, a day before this event? I don't...
You didn't notice how I ever...
the date inside and it's stating it
October 8th, 2016.
Oh, you're right, actually. I know. You're right.
So tomorrow, the events of this game will happen.
I swear that didn't. I swear it wasn't even intentional.
So tomorrow the events of this game will happen. So we will find out whether or not Sam Lake was predicting the future if he was telling a bunch of porgies.
Oh my god! I just realized something. Jack. And October 2016 is the month that Will Powers' trial for the murder of Jack Havers takes place.
Okay, allow me.
What the?
Okay, this is time vision. Basically,
your classic detective mode from Batman Arkham games. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Basically, the red things are bad and the blue things are good. It's basically the color coded for your convenience. Okay. So basically, this is, of course, this is actually one thing that I was kind of a bit... I'm trying to do stealth by here. I'm trying to pull an Uncharted 4 and see if I can somehow get to Will's cover without having to shoot the military. However, as I'm going to learn, unfortunately, there is no chance to actually try to tackle this methodically. You have to shoot people.
Really?
Don't get me wrong. I don't mind having to shoot the people. I just kind of feel like, I mean, Sam Lake usually is not really the action-only kind of guy in his game, so I don't understand why he would force it. I mean, Alan Wake didn't force us to shoot everybody.
At the risk of spoiling, I might look it up and see if there's actually another way to solve it.
Well, Joe, but that's the thing. If there is, then the game didn't really do a good enough job telling me there is.
Good point. I'll just see how you do it here. Oh yeah, that's right. This is a blind playthrough.
See, I got to Will's car without anyone seeing me, but the moment I get there,
Wait, supposed to be in goddamn Thailand? Who wrote this? Frank Miller?
So is the idea you have to shoot them to get into the car, is what you're saying?
Yes, basically the prompt to open the car door won't show up until I kill all people. So,
and of course, you don't have an elf bar, you're just your typical gray vision once you're almost there.
I don't mind this. I mean, Phantom Pain and Uncharted do this well. I don't really
I don't know, but in this, for this game, it doesn't really tell you in what way or capacity your damage.
Actually,
unless
it does,
you have
Phil.
your usual regenerating elf.
Yeah, it does regenerate. It's basically it gets redder and redder as it hurts, but if you take cover, it will get better. It's a typical cover-based shooter thing.
So, question, by the way, when do we get to the parts that, affect, good, bad, or medium, whatever episodes or endings or all that jazz?
Again, in the next part. In the next part, we do both Junction 1 and Episode 1.
Oh,
I like this mechanic. Basically, sometimes you'll find these moments where you can travel back time and you can see what Will was doing a couple hours ago when he first arrived at the university before the story even begins. Basically, there you go. See the prompt. See, notice how that prompt wasn't there when I first approached it before the enemies attacked me. See, so I'm kind of left to assume that I have to kill them. Anyway, yeah, there you go. This is the first time travel you get for battling. You can freeze a specific area in time. Basically you can use this to freeze enemies. And the cool thing that I really like is when enemies are with that bubble, you can shoot that bubble and the bullets will stop inside the bubble, and then they will explode all around the enemy. That's actually pretty cool.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Well, it's
Nice.
classic projectile combination. It's a combination of projectiles and stop mechanic. It's used in all of medias, yeah.
Not to mention the velocity in which that bullet would have to be bouncing off the quantum field.
I was trying to see if freezing the moment where I am will also protect me from bullets, but I haven't gotten that power yet. That's a separate power that I still have to get. Here's the problem right here. Let's just say, I don't know, okay, maybe it's just because I'm used to having a cover system, but there's a lot of moments in this game, even Angry Joe pointed out in his review, I think. Oh, there you go. Oh, I'm not allowed to do it. Yeah, unfortunately I didn't shoot them, I didn't shoot college them, so the kind of... Anyway, yeah, the lack of cover shooting lack of cover system basically makes it so that sometimes in order to kill an enemy, I have to get straight into the line of fire. And
Getting riddled with bullets.
yeah, I don't know. Fortunately, I'm playing on easy mode. If I was playing on hard mode, this probably would be unnecessarily hard. But again, it really suffers because of the lack of cover system.
I wonder if the idea is like, well, you're supposed to use your time power strategically so that you can use it in a way to, sort of raise something of a shield while also, doing something like that.
I don't have the time shield yet.
I think what this game could have used was a map to show you where you and your enemies are. Like a typical shooter would.
Like a mini map.
That would help out immensely.
It's hard to explain without actually playing it, but let's just say if you're used to playing games like Uncharted and Phantom Pain, the lack of cover system will feel weird.
I get where you're coming from.
So I get that the slow motion finishes only when you get to the last enemy.
Yeah, when you kill the last enemy in the area, it does that slow-mo thing to tell you that...
yeah, just like in Batman, okay.
So, what do you think of the game so far?
It's so riveting that I'm currently making our thumbnail poster.
Wow, that was already bored.
Which is sad. I mean, this game involves time travel and guns and
oh shit,
cool particle effects, and yet
the problem. Oh, there you go. This is Beth Midler. Sorry, Beth Wild. Yeah, I'm thinking of a better character.
I'm sure she's not of interest.
Well, actually, Tail, so far it's kind of up in the air whether it's this woman or Amy. We'll see. Yeah.
Ooh.
It always is.
Look, I don't know if you can make it, but you should hurry.
See, there you go, Tail. This is one of the pre-rendered cutscenes on Naughty Dog style on the PS3, where it's the in-game models, but they're spiced up a bit. Like in the pre-rendered.
You need a loading screen to the cutscene, and after it,
yes,
not a signal.
Okay.
That up too. See, here's another problem with this game: the load times. The load times can get really bad.
Well, as long as it's not like Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, where you need loading screens for loading screen. Basically, you need loading. Basically, Spyro Enter the Dragonfly needs loading screens for loading screens.
Don't make people remember that game with ease.
See, this is when he got arrested. Basically, Will got arrested. We learned from this time echo here. Anyway, what I was trying to say was, to give you guys an idea, because this game keeps alternating between pre-rendered cutscenes and in-game cutscenes.
Hello there.
Every time it switches from a pre-rendered cutscene into an in-game cutscene, there's always at the very least a load icon. And sometimes, just to give you an idea, I recorded a part earlier today where in the middle of a cutscene where it switches from pre-rendered to in-game, it even showed the loading screen in the middle of the fucking cutscene itself while the cutscene was talking.
Anyway,
that's not immersion breaking at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, that time dodge mechanic looks pretty awesome and looks useful.
Yeah, the way it works is whenever you notice the icons on the right side of the screen. Those show the energy bar for each of your time powers. If it's whenever you use all of it, you have to wait a bit to regenerate all of it. And yes, basically, like it just said, whenever there's people shooting me, I can use the L1 button to time dodge, which allows me to get from one cover spot to another.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what I was saying, to give an idea too. First, I don't show it because I cut out that 2-minute gap for the sake of us not having to sit through it. But to give you an idea too, I finished part 4 in a specific spot of Act 2, right?
Okay.
And guess what? When I later on loaded that checkpoint, it took 2 minutes for it to load. I'm not even kidding. I counted.
Okay, so now this game has become Recall.
I don't understand it. I mean, and Ingrid also mentioned this in his review. This game feels like it was probably rushed a bit because the load time shouldn't be this long. There you go. There's the time dodge. Whenever I do a time dodge successfully, I can stop time for a second or something.
But if you stop in time, then it shouldn't be a few seconds,
the timer mechanic reminds me a lot of but that mechanic I show you guys, you Pedro, and with Shiro, in Remember Me, when you trace back the memories of the people you will see in the other parts. But yeah, it's actually really similar to that.
Are there any limits to these time powers? Because they seem a bit
They
over.
recharge, from what I see.
Yeah,
Oh, there you
very
go.
quickly.
Notice now that I just used that power, and the middle icon in the right changed. There you go. Now the icon, now the
Okay.
energy is regenerating. There you go. Basically, I can only do time. I can only do 2 time freezes at once. After that, it was just all my power, and I have to wait for it to generate back to full.
Ah,
There you go.
okay.
Look,
Basically, you can spam it.
you cannot spam it so don't worry about that.
So what
The
about
time-
the time dodge?
The time dodge is also you can't use it all the time. You can only do it like I think 3 times at once.
Well,
And
from what
then-
I've seen, it seems to have a regeneration clock that's more faster than usual. It
Yeah,
makes
that-
sense.
Yeah, it does.
You know, this may be controversial, but part of me feels that they kind of took away some of the potential by making this a third-person shooter as opposed to, I don't know, a third-person adventure game of sorts. Well, I mean, not necessarily adventure game, but something of a third-person action adventure game. It's like, well, I don't know. I mean, okay.
The closest thing.
That's not to
allow
say
me
that, like,
about-
well, having a
Sorry.
shooter is bad, because, hey, stuff like War for Cybertron and Fall for Cybertron are technically third-person shooters, but they did it well. However, those games also had a neat melee mechanic to it, which, you know, helped it feel Transformers-ish. Here, it
Oh,
kind of feels
yeah. Don't even mention that to me. Okay, Joey, you know how in Uncharted you can at least get close to enemies and punch them and stuff? You can't do that in this game. So if an enemy is
Really?
close to you, it's kind of awkward. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that
My
definitely brings my point to a head, then. It's like, well, relegating this to
This game feels
shooting
like-
just feels so... I don't know, it's
Yeah,
like, well, I hate to say it,
It feels
but
like
having...
something is missing. It feels like they didn't have time to implement all of the game's mechanics.
Yeah, it's like part of me wonders if they focused mainly on the visuals and the coolness of a system, and then forgot to, implement other features as well as, creativity with said system. It's a great core game, but it's missing, all the extras that are needed to, make a game feel like a choice-given game.
Well, Jova, like I said, you asked about the adventure stuff. Well, the closest thing it has is that aside from shooting elements, there are also sections of platforming where you have to use your time trial powers to solve kind of little small platforming puzzles. They're not that great, though. They're very basic and incredibly easy to figure out and do. In fact, I'm about to do one of them actually right now. Anyway, what I was saying to you, Dwebs, is allow me to nail down your problem, Dwebs. The problem is that so far these characters they've even gotten that much development. We still don't really have any reason to care about them. That's
Now-
all.
You know what's sad, Pedro?
What?
I've been audience. Recently, I've been.
Let me hold on to this. Let me just explain this. There you go, Jova. Here, if I try to jump on that thing, it will lower. But however, since I time stopped it here, now I can jump on it.
Huh.
There you go.
Nice.
Anyway, I was just going to say, basically, audience. As I was going to bring up. Recently, I've been watching a lot of Steven Universe. My point is, I think it's sad that in episodes that only last 11 minutes, I care more about the characters in that than this. I'm assuming 10-hour plus game.
Because those characters are full of life, that's basically what it boils down to. It. If you don't care about the characters, then you don't really care about anything. That's the gist of it, basically.
And that's not to say, like, well, there haven't been plots that, have a character who you could care less for, but then, build them up behind the scenes and then throw in a twist that does make you care for them. It's just, well, if that's not what this game is...
doing that so far.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, well, if this game isn't setting up to doing that, then...
Well, Jova, I've done 2 acts, aka 2 gameplay chapters, and 2 episodes, and so far, it hasn't really gotten better since this point. Sorry.
So,
Like,
so
for
at this
example...
point, So as of now, Pedro, is this like Sam Lake's worst game?
Probably yes.
How many
That's
weapons
not
can
saying that
you
it's a
around?
bad
Sorry.
game, because it
It's-
still looks like a good game overall at its
Oh no,
core.
it's like I said, Jova. Something doesn't have to be bad for it to be the worst.
Okay.
Oh, I know
think
that.
what
I
Dibs
know
means-
that. I know
think
that.
what
I'm
Dibs means
explaining
is
to the audience. I'm
it's a good
explaining that.
game. That sounds better.
I'm
It's
ex-
a good game.
yeah.
Pedro,
Yes.
How many weapons can you carry around?
4.
Okay.
Oh, there are different weapons to pick from?
Yeah, I saw a handgun, a
It has,
standard
it,
machine
it has the exact same weapon inventory system as Uncharted. The exact same. I'm guessing that's also taken from Gears of War 2?
Huh?
I'm guessing that's also how Gears of War works. You know that thing there where you press right on the D-pad for the weapon on the right, and you press left for another weapon.
Oh, right, no, I didn't got the question, that was it.
Is that from Gears of War?
I think so.
Alright then.
And I suppose, and obviously imagining there's no upgrade system whatsoever for the weapons.
So, here's a question.
Go ahead.
Oh crap, I
Yes.
Oh wait, yeah, in regards to this,
That weapon
how...
sucks.
Yeah, how good is the variety of weapons? Like, well, is it like, a usual pickup, or is it just your typical here and there?
I mean, you have a handgun, you have a heavy machine gun, like the one I'm using now, and shotguns. That's the ones I've gotten so far.
Also, don't these guys want them alive?
Let's just say Paul. Not Paul. Never mind. Bleh. Let's just say the villain of this game. Jack's death is convenient for him.
Oh, so why they kidnap Will then? Oh, right, to lure him.
No, well, remember, Will can be an asset because he can build a time machine. So.
Wait, Will helped? I thought Will didn't. Oh, right, Will helped out, but then wanted to destroy the time machine all of a sudden.
Yeah, Will made the thing, but then he gave up because it was too dangerous. But Paul wanted to go forward with the experiment, and that's why he brought Jack to the university.
I think I can see where this is
and
going.
Everyone died. The end.
I'm not even sure if died is the right term with.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm thinking of stuff to. I'm trying my hardest to think of stuff to say. This game isn't really giving me a whole lot to work with.
Okay, Dwebs, let me give you something to work with. I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
You've played a lot of Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 4, so you're familiar with that game's mechanics by this point.
Yeah.
Imagine Uncharted. Imagine those games, but you can't use the circle button to do cover.
That sounds incredibly backwards.
Instead, Dribs, what you have to do is press up against the object and pray to God that it is a cover set piece.
Okay.
Oh my God, we just cleared the room.
Okay. Allow me to say something though. To be fair, in Phantom Pain, Phantom Pain also had a cover, an auto cover thing where when you touch a wall, the snake would, put in cover. However, in Phantom Pain, you could still crouch whenever you want, and the auto cover system worked in every single thing, and so it worked fine. It wasn't worse than Uncharted. It was just different. It worked just as fine for me, at least. So they could have done something similar here, but for some reason they decided, you can only cover behind.
They pointed out your thing. Why they're still shooting? They said they wanted to take us alive, and they said, I think they just changed their minds.
Yeah. Also, yes, I will definitely say it now. This game really needs a melee attack button because seriously, with parts that up close and you can't even just punch the guy.
Yeah.
That's
how the guards were literally just in front of me, and I had to shoot them instead of punching them.
Jack, remember the basics of CQC. Come on.
Usually, when I'm playing an Uncharted game, I use punching whenever an enemy is really, really right next to me because it's just more convenient than using a gun.
Yeah,
but
here though, if you have to shoot them though, it's like, well, you have to pray to God that you use your time powers well enough so that they don't bum rush you. Otherwise, you have to shoot up close and personal, and that takes your mind off of other approaching enemies.
But not just that, Joe and Pedro. It should be a thing called basically using logic even for something relatively minor or not used. Like to give an example, this case, a melee attack in FPS usually is not that powerful as an attack, but it's present and it's used.
Hold on, let me. Sorry, but I have to interrupt you because this is important.
Sure, I'll reply later.
This cutscene is important. There we go, Joey. We're about to get your answer.
The villain?
Turns out Paul is the villain.
Yeah, yes, that's right. I recall.
You see,
a version of Paul from the future.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. I
Jack.
called that in the last part.
I used time
And
travel
guess what?
power because I need to defeat Bane.
And guess what? He also got time travel power, so he will be our Bizarro Jack.
Well, I did. Well, I did kind of call this.
If you saw the Flash TV series, consider him more like the Professor Zoom. But yeah, basically your nemesis with the same power, with similar powers to yours.
Yeah.
Can I mention another problem I got with this game?
Go ahead.
The music's just extremely generic.
Yeah,
techno,
not memorable at all.
Hans Zimmery like trash.
Dwibs, let's not compare this to Hans Zimmer. They're doing better than Hans Zimmer. It's like, oh, yes. This soundtrack is nothing to write home about. It's just like, oh, it's literally doing its job to be the cinematic sort of movie soundtrack where, you know, clearly it's not really a soundtrack you're gonna buy, but it fills out the atmosphere in the game.
Basically, Paul knows something that's going to happen in the future, so he came here to stop us, basically.
So, is it something bad he's trying to stop?
Well, he has told me something about it as of right now from when I played, but I can't tell you yet because spoilers.
Fair enough. But yeah, I kind of did call he was going to be the bad guy in the last part. But wait, is this like our...
Well, considering the actor playing him, look at him. He's just a...
No, it's like I said, don't you see? He needs those time powers to stop Bane.
And there you go. I'm sorry, but I can't not really care because I don't know anything.
Will died?
Who got squished again?
Will. Jake's brother. Jake's brother. Exactly.
Ow.
The game didn't really do good enough.
What a way to end the act.
Alright everybody, we ended Act 1. Basically this is how the structure works. The acts are the gameplay parts. The junctions are the gameplay parts where you're basically it's just that you making a choice that affects how the episode is going to play out. And then you have the actual episodes themselves. So we just go from act, junction, episode. Act, junction, episode.
On the one hand, the way to get different stories aren't too ambiguous. On the other hand, though, it seems a little kind of cheap to, you know, literally have the only points where, you know, your choices change stuff up to be it. What is like you literally just pick one option and then boom, you watch an episode.
All right, yeah, pretty much. Teo, unless you're tight on time, feel free to finish what you were saying.
No, I'll say in the next part. Don't worry, I'll remember it.
All right then. See everybody.
Yeah, we'll remember this.
We watch episode 1, Monarch Solutions.
All right, see ya.